Hi, I'm Rebecca Gunter. I am a brand and business coach, a copywriter, and an all around creative type, and your host for Business in the Raw. Like my mentors and their mentors before them, I have crawled through the glass on my own entrepreneurial journey, experimenting and iterating and doing everything in my power to carve out a brand that I can be proud of. I've come a long way, and I have a long way to go. I believe the transformation is in the journey, not the destination. Come along with me as I give everything I've got to one entrepreneur on the brink of revolution. And it will be televised, like literally, only on 100 TV. Janine is craving something that will have fruitful returns. She's seen what she can do in leadership roles and public service. She's seen what she can do nurturing a marriage and family. She knows her worth and her value that she consistently brings to her communities. Her voice has impact, and that is clear. Fundraising, advocacy, and social rights issues. She has seen her own victory gardens, both metaphorically and literally, bring forth abundance year after year. She feels free, open, and optimistic. It's her time. Time for reinvention, time for revolution. And this time, she gets to create the life that she wants, rather than react to the life that she already has. Join me and Janine as we embark on a grand brand venture. Okay, we are absolutely recording. Go ahead about digging in.
Yeah, well, digging in, and like I said, initially I was just sort of, I can't say, fear. That's where I was. It's not fear, it's trepidation. I think they mean the same thing, but just the unknown. How successful will it be? Well, it what? And that's what kept coming back to me. It what? You know, and that's why I sent you those clips earlier. That's just part of me letting things go and not to get so caught up on, oh, I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to be able to show the whole me. Well, we don't know what that is yet. And maybe there is a way to mesh it. And I think we've talked about that. Maybe there is a way to mesh it. And what does that mean? And I even went as far not to sort of start scripting things, but just thinking about legacy story gifts. What is it? You know what it is now, but this process will allow us to delve deeper. Maybe legacy story gifts was built. I may be getting ahead of myself, but can I say this, or is it?
You say whatever you want. I'll get my pen out.
All right, check this out.
I'm ready for you, Janine.
Okay. Legacy Story Gifts, obviously, it was created because I love voiceovers, but I also love to sing. I was trying to find a way to mesh those things together. I had some really cool clients that allowed me to delve into their families' lives, celebrating birthdays and basically more birthdays than anything. And, but it was just me, one deep. I'm the voice talent. I'm the researcher. I'm the script writer. I did everything except for the audio engineering. So, what about, and this is what I've been thinking about, what if that idea is just one element of Legacy Story Gifts? What if Legacy Story Gifts is actually, and we talked about this part before, adding a video component? And I'm not trying to script everything out, but I just started to open my mind. Well, yeah, maybe you would open it up because I need someone to do video. I need more researchers. I need someone who can, talk to families. They can't all just be one deep if it's to be successful. And it still can be boutique-ish, right? It still can be, that we focus on families or, retirements, the celebrations of your life and all that. But I still need people who know how to tell a story or who has that passion for telling stories. There are a lot of people out there who wants to do that, may be a part of Legacy Story Gifts, if that's even the name moving forward. And you know what I call the researchers? Look, I'm telling you, I was like a scribe. I was like, God, this is not me. This is all you. I called the researchers root gardeners. They're the ones that they're literally looking for roots. They're searching for the roots. What is that story behind that individual? So anyway, and then the folks who are writing the script, it doesn't have to just be Janine, but that's the way I started just with me. But that idea can be expanded. Then I started thinking about the whole gardening thing. It was like, okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be a part of this. This all came from you. All right. I'm just here to tell you that whole concept around gardening, harvesting, and all that we were talking about last week. I thought, what if, what did I write here? Look, I'm not kidding you. This just happened. Look at this. Do you see this? This thinking, thinking, and going, she's right. How can, so, so, what did I call it? A garden and arts demonstration center.
You can see the gardening come to life in copy
Mhm.
in the Meet Janine art, the bio that we did for this show, where it's really you can really see where like rooting, gardening, harvesting, propagating, all of those things are coming to life
Oh my
within
God.
the brand. We're not even expressing what the business model is yet, but it is absolutely feasible for you to integrate all of these passions into one business model. And I already see something shaping up for you.
Thank you. I'm good, and I'm seeing it shaped for myself, whatever that those possibilities are. And I don't know if those other spaces are. Is it a foundation around the gardening and music art stuff? Is it a nonprofit that ties in? I don't know. And then I sing because I even wrote maybe you do concerts for fundraisers, for the nonprofit. Maybe you do. So it all does. It ties in. So I'm excited. I don't know how many times I can say excited without putting exclamation marks behind it. So, but I'll stop there. I'll stop there.
If it is a foundation or a nonprofit, do you see yourself as the person who initiates it, works in it for a little while, and then leaves to go maybe do a different project or write a book or go on a speaking tour or whatever? Or do you see yourself as the kind of person who has a nonprofit or a foundation that has to be, you have to run it forever?
Mm,
This is your legacy, this is your child, in a
yeah.
way. And this is something that's like, I can't even, the foundation in me, where does the line begin? Where does it end? Or do you see
Mm.
yourself like setting up an impact organization and then going and doing a different project?
Wow, that is a great question. I think I see myself as the one who designs, develops, starts it. But in order for it to flourish, there has to be other players and someone who is willing to take it over. One, two, board, all of that, moving it forward. And to be honest with you, Rebecca, given who I know I am, I'm going to have to change. It will almost drive me crazy if I can't start something, develop it, and then sort of push it away because I know something new is going to be coming down the pike. Related, maybe, but down the pipe. So I'm thinking it could be a legacy. I'm just going to use, I'm just going to use legacy story gifts, knowing that it might be something else. I can see legacy story gifts being a business. Yes, a business that I run, but it's soon operated by someone else, but a true business, not foundation, but this garden center thing. And again, this is not written in stone. We know that. But the garden and music and art, sort of that demonstration center, I have that in my mind as a like a foundation, or that's the nonprofit, that part of it. But so answering your question, yeah. So I see more of the garden center and all that really being handed off soon to someone else. But legacy story gifts, maybe spending more time developing that. The hiring of art of other voiceover artists, hiring of, yeah. But working at this level, and having other sort of directors, the director of audio, the director of whatever, and yeah. Does that make
Do,
sense?
yes. Do you see the demonstration center as a brick and mortar? And if so, what's your vision there?
I do. My vision there, I absolutely do. Okay, so I'm going to take you back a little bit. A few years ago, like 2018, I literally developed a whole big old business plan around a recording studio. Okay, I was going to own a brick and mortar recording studio. Thank God it didn't happen because of COVID and all that, and things would have been real funky.
Yeah, I remember that.
Do
That
you?
was going to be the Janine Sound experience.
That's right. And that
Yeah.
recording studio, I also wanted an element of, so just listen to this, of having like a community space where people would rent some of the space out, where there also be a place for people to record, similar to what I had downstairs, which is I have that space, the whisper room and all that, but expand it. Adding this gardening piece, I literally see it as a place to teach gardening. I mean, really having room in this place. I don't know if it's a warehouse that people can learn to grow. So let's say you're interested in container gardening. Yeah, a lot can be done online, surely. We got YouTube, surely. But can you see either older adults, parents with kids, literally playing in the soil, learning how to grow hands on? And then you have the opportunity to buy some product there if you want, or go anywhere you want. I don't know. That's what I'm saying now. But, and then start your own mini garden, start your own mini container gardening, so it's more of an educational space. So, like I said, I don't know if it's a warehouse, but someplace big enough that one part of it will be like a clinic, like a gardening clinic where there's learning all the time, even about sustainability. And I think that's where some of the climate change discussions will happen. And um, yeah, that's where I see that happening. And then music, perhaps having some spaces where young people, young and old, can wrap their lips around a mic, either to sing, perform, tell stories, or whatever they choose to do. But really, and I think, yeah, I'm going to describe it right now as clinic. Did I give you? Was
I'm
that
getting
clear?
there. I'm getting there.
All right.
Do you have or the connections to the capital you would need to do a brick and mortar at this level?
Yes.
Okay, good for you. Another suggestion I would have, if the answer was no, I was going to suggest that perhaps we consider a organization like a cultural center within a cultural center, or that we pop up somewhere. Maybe we find a public-private partnership where like they're giving us some space within a building, or within like what was that place in Arlington that had that funky art center? Do
Yeah.
you remember?
Oh, I'm thinking Alexandria, but the not torpedo, like torpedo factory ish.
Yeah, or something similar. Or again, I
Yeah.
could see a public-private partnership, like that's around DC sings, or I'm making that all up. But if the answer is yes, that's a whole different ballgame.
Okay, but let me say, who? Yes, the answer is yes, depending. So this is what I was going to say. Caveat: how much of your own do you need to invest?
I would. That's why I said connections to the capital. I didn't say your money, girl.
Yeah, right. Okay, and that's what I thought. And that, so I hung in that space. So yeah, connections to the capital.
Maybe like, do you have it? I've got banking relationship. I've got a philanthropist who would love to invest in something like this. I have connections to a grant writing person. I don't know, but I'm asking you: is this something that you can? That's like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, that you can make it happen, or do we need to figure out a way to like do a little something, get some attention, do a little something, get some attention, do a little something, or are we like ready to present something?
I would prefer the do a little something, make something happen. Do a little something, make something happen, because this, I think it's unique, but the tools, I'll just say gardening, arts, or whatever, those might be somewhat unique, but people are doing that, in some capacity, whether or not it's community gardening, whether or not it's I think there's a place somewhere in Maryland where I think young people can record music and whatever. Is it the Arc? Do they have that there? Is it?
The Arc is in DC.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's the Arc, but there, I know there's a place, theater something, in Maryland. I guess the point is there are places that are doing some of this separately, but maybe not together. I like the idea of identifying a partner of some way. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think you described it as partner necessarily, but an organization. What did you call it?
What I call a pop up, or an organization within an organization.
Yeah, I like that. You bring, we bring gardening to this space, or we bring the, I need a bit to tool it, but I like the pop up concept, and I like the idea of bringing something unique that complements another organization's mission.
Do you have somebody in mind with a bunch of extra real estate?
I don't, but I have a few friends. I have one friend in particular that I would call in a heartbeat to say, "What do you think?" She knows someone who's building on another, expanding their business. It's more of a community focus. It's not in Virginia. It's in DC. I actually would prefer if well, it doesn't matter. But so the answer is yes, and that may lead to to something else, it's
Mhm.
like, that's a great idea. You may want to talk to so and so. So I know someone who knows someone who's operating in that space who has and can churn ideas. Um,
Fabulous.
yeah.
So, what I'm thinking is if we build something that has a revenue generating component to it. Now, maybe legacy story gifts and whatever it evolves into is a separate business entity for you.
Hmm.
And then this kind of like roots to fruits idea of a cultural center
Yeah.
is a separate thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe they work in tandem. I think that we would have to have, again, revenue generating stuff. And here's what I'm thinking for you. Yeah, like the legacy gifts. That's huge.
Mm.
Audio, video, etc. We've done a lot of work towards that brand already, which is pretty cool because it sets us up for success.
Yeah, I went back just earlier today looking at some of the stuff that you shared with me just to get a feel for. It's like, yeah, that's right, and I was like, damn, that Rebecca, she's so good. But
Oh,
no, it really your writing, copy editing, all of that, but it comes from listening, and you listen, but but you know what to do with it. You know how
what'd
to
you
turn
say? I
it.
wasn't paying attention.
I know.
So we have that aspect already, and in fact, what's kind of shaping up in my mind is this kind of what I've written down here. Nothing. Oh yeah, passion for storytelling. Story. You know where I have that written down? Somewhere else. But essentially, that it's got a number of services under this umbrella. That the legacy gifts is one of those services. Voiceover, podcast, whether you do end up doing production with Keenan or not, but there's some aspect of podcasting. There could be some live streaming if you want to get into that, or some video components we had talked about.
Mm-hmm.
That thing living, as a living entity, that's like the pizza place that funds the fine dining restaurant.
Yeah. Wow.
And then and then we can use the roots to fruits concept, the cultural center, the clinic, and the money making activities there could be like, maybe the gardening clinic is mobile and you can pop up in a gardening store, you can pop up at like homestead gardens, you pop up in schools, maybe you had
Wow.
after school programming. That's an idea.
Wow. Yeah.
You could, like go find a community garden plot and host an event,
Wow.
a seed swap, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then in addition to that, maybe you've got a very low cost to entry newsletter
Yeah.
that's like,
Mm.
like from March to Smarch,
Wow.
planning your victory garden,
Yeah.
to feed your soul, or so. Again,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
making all that up. So
Yeah.
maybe there's like a book, companion podcast, programming that's in the community, maybe some school-based stuff, etc. Then over here you've got recording, like storytelling, podcasts,
Wow.
singing, songwriting, voiceover, commercials,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
audiograms. I mean, it would be very cool to kind of mesh the idea of a what is that service?
The singing telegram? No.
Oh my God,
You
that
remember?
yeah, the singing telegram. But I was trying to think of I lost my train of thought on that one. But anyway, so I can see where those two things could be separate.
Mhm.
And then as you grow momentum
Yeah.
towards a brick and mortar, maybe you're seeking out grant opportunities, maybe you're asking bread for the city to give
Mhm.
you a dedicated,
So
a
many.
thousand square foot space,
Yeah.
maybe,
Yeah.
whatever we kind of figure out. If you've got connections, which I believe you do,
Mhm.
then you can work your network for that. And then as we grow into that, perhaps you're able to bring in like the sound design, the sound experience. I mean, I've always loved that, Janine, sound experience, the sound experience into the community center. So maybe there are, gardening space, like, sow your grow and find your voice.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
know.
wow.
And maybe there's like a recording studio
Mhm.
situation where people can go and make their own podcasts or their
Yeah.
own shows just like this, hands-on stuff,
And you're still talking
musical
mobile, or you
performance. No,
are
at
you
this
still
point, at this point, I want a real place.
a brick and that's what I thought you said. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
and
Yeah.
this place, like kind of almost like community center meets art school meets co-working space meets
Yes.
just
Yes.
like so like if senior center and daycare had a
Yeah.
baby and then add like college level
Wow.
opportunities to educate yourself in some
No,
kind of way.
you have yes. So that answer is definitely yes. And either to start, I want, okay, yes. Could I start out that way and I know I'm talking, so the borrowing of space or the collaboration, I should call it, with other organizations, that helps to get, my mojo going, and folks knowing who I am, what I do, make a name, respect, trust, and all of that, right? And then sort of moving into the space of a real brick and mortar that allows all those elements that, I've been doing on the road, if you will, but bringing it home to, to then nurture, but in a different space. It
Exactly. Now that might be the 3 to 5 year plan, but there's nothing stopping you from starting that today. One, we could put out a price sheet tomorrow that's like voiceover work, legacy gifts, podcasts, original song and storytelling, those 3 pillars.
Mhm.
We can put that out tomorrow under a brand.
Yeah.
I'm still like really loving Janine sound experience.
Oh my god.
I'm like loving that. At the same time, there's nothing stopping us from having once a month live stream from your own garden to just start the
Yeah.
foundation. There's nothing stopping you from hosting a virtual concert just to start something. There's nothing stopping you from doing like calling up the folks at Food Prints,
Hmm.
which go into elementary schools and help them grow their own garden.
Oh,
And you
okay.
could
I've
be
never heard
working.
of it.
Yeah, oh, Food Prints is awesome. Very DC focused. I think it's a nationwide program, but I'm not 100% sure. But the funding helps a school plant a garden. And then in the case when we were on the Hill, I feel like the school, kind of supplemented the salary, but we had a chef who would like work the garden and then teach Food
Oh
Prints
my
once
god.
once a week, and the kids would come. They would go pick the carrots, and da da da. Then the art teacher would come, then they would draw the things, and then they would take them upstairs and then make carrot salad or
Oh,
whatever it was. So I could see you doing something with Food
wow.
Prints. I could see you doing something with Duke Ellington School of the Arts. I could see you
Yeah. Yeah.
just kind of exploring your world. The thing that's going to be really important for you, the
Yeah.
thing that's going to be really important for you is to not feel overwhelmed by having a big vision. I understand that this might feel like, oh, what? Like a brick and mortar and the thing and the Duke Ellington and the partnerships and the Food Prints and all of that can feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
Know that we can put a business model in place tomorrow that utilizes your voice for hire.
Wow.
Voiceover, songwriting, storytelling. Okay. We can do that tomorrow. Know that you can start whatever you decide to call the demonstration center.
Yeah.
You can start that tomorrow
Yeah.
with one webinar. It's all that we can do. It's all it takes to just
Wow.
start. And
Yeah.
then for yourself, it'll allow you to then breathe into what can the programming be.
Yeah.
Your bigger picture is going to be a brick and mortar space
Mhm.
eventually.
Mhm.
Politically that in the face of like this economic and cultural crisis we're facing here in America,
Yeah.
the answer is not, wait for the government to actually advocate for people, because
Oh,
that's not a thing. And the answer is not like wait for big business to like finally get a moral standing, because that's
no.
not going to be a thing. The answer is in interconnected hyper local communities
Yeah.
and bartering, seed swaps, clothing exchanges, things like that.
Yes.
So while I didn't hear you say I kind of want to get into a church space in
Wow.
terms of, helping the community, I do think that the things that will make the most impact in the next year
Yeah.
to 10 years will be third places, not home, not work, but third places.
I have never heard a design so tangible and for me less overwhelming. So what you just described, you're right, it's all doable. I love the Janine sound experience, and that could happen any day. The thing with the Janine sound experience, I think what I'm realizing is that I still remain one deep or not. I don't know. The other concept of the demonstration garden and music experience or whatever, that has more potential initially. And I'm not trying to, build some or create some hierarchy or one better being better than the other. But in terms of what I believe communities need from, and it really is an energy. This ties into my heart strength. I think is bringing younger and older, the generations, intergenerational opportunities in communities to bring us together. And actually, that's one note I made to myself: intergenerational. That has been sort of my, you know, just theme for many, many, many years. And I think that sort of space, it is mobile enough starting out that and pliable that I can reach many communities. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing from you is it's really nice that we can throw together a business model that will generate some income for original voice storytelling
Mhm.
and blah blah blah. But that's really not where I want to spend my time right now, because this is my chapter.
Yeah. You're gonna make me I'm gonna scream because I have really been thinking about where do I really want to spend the majority of my time? Because to split my time is like, well, I can do this. Like you said, we can write that in a heartbeat and we can get going, right? It still takes time, it takes energy. It's like where do you want that production, the level of effort? Because you still got 24 hours. So where would I like that to be? I believe it's in the space of gardening slash I'm calling it music education or whatever I'm calling it. Gardening. I think gardening art center is what I call it. But again, not wedded to that at all. But that is where I want, because I think that's where the even discussions around the whole climate change and whatever term we have to use that people can rally around, just can we try to shift, what's happening on the earth, a little, including our own backyard. That is highly important to me. And somewhere along the line, the Janine sound experience and all that, I think it's going to find its place. I really do. Yeah.
I hope it's open for business just enough to do the voiceover for this show.
And that's what, okay. So check that
I
out.
hope you're open for business just enough to
Listen,
give me the voiceover for this show.
and see, listen, check this out. So if I focus in that Janine sound experience space, it would probably only I would probably only take gigs for just voiceovers.
And
Maybe not all.
you could cherry pick it.
Could cherry pick it, but that in terms of a level of effort, I mean, like, hey, let's start to move this thing forward. It's like you said, roots to fruits. I love that. Oh my God, the roots to fruit model. But yeah, the voiceover could still have its space. I would love to do more voiceovers. You have more control of your time. You have more control because if I wanted to build that up, I know what it would require. And that's what started to overwhelm me, but also excite me, I'll be honest, which is I mentioned the research, needing more people that's going to do the research with the family members, who's going to write the script, and if it were to be something bigger than what it is, But presently, me doing all, and I'm not going to stay in this space for too long, but me, doing the reaching out, the interviewing, scaling it down to, a script, then recording a draft, and then getting it to the family, getting it back. And then, then I'm ready to, work in the studio with Keenan, the whole audio piece that he's adding. Cause then I'm looking at music. I need someone who can help research music. I can have a vision, but I need that, because that takes a lot of work to determine what I want in the backdrop of these different pieces, because you're telling somebody's life. So when they were in their teens, the daughter told me that, man, he used to love to listen to some Nat King Cole, right? So somewhere in that background, there's going to be some Nat King Cole or genre, music in that space, in the circa rather. So all that to say, to make that happen big, it's going to take a little bit more time, but still doing voiceovers, I can still see happening. And yes, for Stone Fruit, anytime, any day. I would love to. So I'm just offering that up. I mean, that's
That's a wrap. That's a wrap.
That is a wrap. But, and maybe, yeah, I don't want to keep talking about voiceovers, but yeah, that's a wrap. I can do it. I can get it done. I probably would have to hire someone, and which is, who can do the audio sort of on the fly. It's like, hey, I got this gig coming up, let's do this thing. Fair enough. But then there's this whole space that I embrace, and I literally can feel the connection more easily. I don't know if that's the right word, but and still have, it requires work, and thinking and making connections and all of that. I love that. And I'm more ready to do that in that space. Yeah. So.
Okay.
That's a great question.
Couple things. Yeah. Couple things. First of all, I don't feel like we have to go full ham on legacy story gifts to make that a viable business. You, like you said, you could only do voiceovers. There is a real niche, I think, or need opening up for original music, original songs and original music. We're all like, if I hear the stock music from the podcast intro one more time, like, I'm gonna lose it. And I'm probably gonna, if this piece actually makes it into the show, they're gonna be like, but Rebecca, your music is stock. Like, I'm sure,
which is fine.
It's just fine. Or, Janine does a song, I'm on my way. So you don't have to hire somebody to get the researchers, blah, blah, blah. Somebody can come in and just tell their story to you. I got grandpa here. He can't wait to tell you about the time he ate stinky fish in Alaska, with the, and got snowed in or whatever. So it doesn't have to be that huge of a lift.
You're absolutely right.
In addition to, go ahead, girl. Go ahead.
No, I just want to correct something about the original music. What I do with legacy story gifts is I will take, let's say, a song by Nat King Cole, and then I will recreate it to tell the story of that individual.
Yeah, like, that's pretty hot. But also even just regular old, dang, I wish I had an original song for my podcast.
Oh, absolutely.
That's also a thing.
Yeah, no, and I would prefer to work in that space because I'm working with original music, because there's copyrights and all that other stuff that's involved in the other space, which is why I really wanted to let a lot of that part of it go. Anyway, that's a conversation for another time.
I mean, well, not necessarily. I feel like legacy story gifts could be just a small, maybe you only offer it at Christmas, or something, or maybe you only offer it like, but whatever. I'm just making that up.
No, but
all of that is, I'm sorry, Janine, I'm talking all over you.
No, I'm talking over you. Excuse me,
darling.
No.
All of that to say, my gut instinct with you is that riding two horses with one ass is going to make you fucking mental.
I don't think
you're going to like that. I think it's going to be like neither one of these gets the best of Janine.
I agree with you.
So that doesn't mean you can't go make some money for yourself, because the Rooster Fruits Community Center, whatever, that's not going to be a big income driver. Like, putting, maybe you can sell some t-shirts or a garden clinic or you could get some webinars going, but that's going to be a passion project where you're going to need public-private partnership.
Yep.
Eventually, when you have the building, you're going
Yep.
to need public-private partnership. You're going to need some grant writing. You're going to need some ways to make money there, and we can figure all of that out, but it's
Yeah.
not going to be like, ooh, I'm consistently getting income from this thing on day one, where you could with the voiceover thing.
You're right.
That said, there
Thank you.
is nothing on God's green earth stopping you from being a freelance voiceover artist for another agency or
Mhm.
just as a freelancer. You don't have to have a business. You don't have to have services. You don't have to have, a website. You don't have to have an onboarding process. You don't have to do any of that because there are employment agency type situations. I don't know
Wow.
what they are directly, but we can figure them out.
Yeah.
Or just go sign up and be like, I'm a voiceover artist. Here's a sample.
Yeah.
And then maybe you get work and maybe you don't, but all you need is your studio.
And that model will make me less crazy than trying to do it all while knowing that my heart is also in this passion project space.
Yeah.
You
There's
are
nothing stopping you. Just go
You're right.
sign up as like pick me for voiceover. I'm one of 1,000 million. Hopefully you like what I bring to the table. We don't have to market it. We don't have to price it. We don't have to LLC it. We don't have to make a business model around it. We don't
Nope.
have to find a staff.
Nope.
We don't have to do anything, but it still gives you an option to make some money.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you, when I first started doing voiceovers, I signed up for it's like a pay to play. You pay like maybe it's $200 now, I guess, maybe $200. And what they do is voiceovers.com and the voices 123 or something, voice 123. And so you pay to play. You pay like $200 and then they send you gigs every day. There's gigs. And you initially have to fill out a profile, African American woman or older adult woman, I'm just going to say sexy voice, and I don't think it's written like that. But anyway, so some profile, some description. And then they start, it's based on algorithm, and then they base, what they direct to you based on what you say you are. Because you have to support it with, you have to bring receipts with your demos. And so they send it. And I got a few gigs from that. And I would love to return to that space because it's similar to how you described of what you described. And I would love to get to that space. The reason why I sort of stopped, like I said, you need to be able to turn on the dime to bid it. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I know it sounds like that this has been like my crutch, but I want to get back into that space for all the reasons that you've mentioned. But I know that I would need to bring someone else along, which is fine. I'm open to that.
I hear you. Like I hear you. If I had to be on a copywriting site that was like respond within 1 hour, there's no way I would be able to do that, stop what I'm doing and kind of pivot to their direction. But perhaps there's something more artisan, more tailored, some other list you can get on. I definitely have a few podcast connections of producers who I can connect you with and be like, look, if you're looking for something different for a commercial, like Tony does voiceover work all the time for webinars. So maybe that could be a niche. I just want you to have an independent way to make money in case you want to, so you don't have the anxiety of like, I'm dipping into my savings right now. I don't want that for you. But I also don't want you to be like, I started a circus and another circus all in the same day, and I hate both of them, and Rebecca can suck it.
No, you... So I'm glad to have this discussion. You're right, because at first I didn't want to delve into the whole voice over thing. But no, you're absolutely right. I'm glad to have this discussion, and I see myself thriving because I do want to make money. I mean, I want to make money. I like passion stuff, but I want to make money. That's for sure. Sometimes I just don't think I can have it both, but working with you and having these discussions, I'm learning that they both can happen, but one, the level of effort that I know that I want to put in going after, and then building those relationships and all that. I know that that's in this other space. And in the other, let me define, in the, what do you call it, roots and fruit space? And
the roots to fruit space.
Yeah, roots to fruits. But
that doesn't mean that project can't bring money to you.
I would love to discuss that.
Yeah, let's discuss that. You could form a benefit corporation instead of a nonprofit. A benefit corporation has taps into great venture capital funding. You just have to be for real about your triple bottom line impact.
Yeah.
And it's a nice way to do nonprofit e type vibe
Mm-hmm.
without the restrictions of nonprofit, because the only way you're going to make money from the nonprofit is to pay yourself a high salary, which is absolutely acceptable. I'm so for it. However, that's not like the sustainable wealth I see for you.
No.
I'd like you to have, I'd like whatever your effort is here to provide legacy financing for your intergenerational
Yes.
vision.
Yes.
So that doesn't, so I guess I'm saying Roots to Fruits does not have to be poor.
Okay.
And we can start small.
I would like to start small so that I will not be poor based on passion.
And you would be providing a business model
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
other people. Like, just imagine, like, you and I are, we're excited about this show. It's cool. It's a cool concept. Like, awesome. We're going to have a TV show on a network that's dedicated. We're going to have the only 1 hour television show on the whole entire network.
That's
The only
amazing.
one that's like multi episode arcs over the course of the season. So
Yes.
that's exciting. What if somebody saw this and was like, finally, I see a way to follow my passion
Yeah.
without being poor?
Yes. Oh God.
So I hope your story inspires somebody else. Let's work through it for us. Let's work it through it for future generations.
Yes.
And let's work through it for anybody at all that might be watching, being like, I have bigger dreams, but I also don't want to live on ramen noodles.
Yeah. Oh my God. Bingo, bingo, bingo. Because I'll tell you what, when you're doing, like, if you have a grant and then you have to write up your report, there's usually a category that reads unanticipated outcomes, right? So those are the things that, okay, they fall sort of outside of what you expected to happen. But then you find that it was a mother, she didn't have to be single or whatever, but a mother found your program, and then she introduced that program to her mother, and then they decided to go into business together. But let's say the focus was only on women of a certain age, let's say 35 to 55. But then this person, that's that one almost anomaly, if you will, but maybe several anomalies, say it right, that then took what you did, your effort, and made it into something else. They saw the possibility. Wouldn't that be great? I am right along with you.
I think that would be really great. And you have something real to share. Even if we just look at gardening, just look at that only.
Yeah.
How many people don't know how to grow their own food? How many people don't know you can supplement your own food just from vegetable cuttings you get at the grocery store?
That's right.
Who knew that was a thing?
Who knew?
So many people who need to be bartering in the food crisis is coming.
It's real.
Food crisis is coming. If you cannot cook and you cannot grow your own food and you are completely dependent, they're talking about unifying banking under the federal banner.
Oh.
So, like, if you can only bank at the government, who can turn on your card and turn it off,
that's right.
Better learn some self-sustaining.
That's right.
Techniques. So I think what you're offering, even just in that space, is so valuable to humanity. And then the expression on the other two sides of it, of song and story and art. Yeah. Some entrepreneurs, I think we could find a way to integrate these two ideas into one. I feel like I feel like God has given you the gift of singular focus. That's something you've never had before. You've always had your mom, your parents, your sibling, your children, your husband, your job, your dog, your car, your house, whatever it is. All of those things have split your time and attention. Right now, this moment in your life, those things have cleared, and you can put all of your Janine-ness in one project. I mean, is it Christmas? Question mark.
Rebecca, that's truth. That is true. And not that I would turn back the hands of time, or I don't regret any of it, but to be given the opportunity to be singularly focused, it is a gift that can be somewhat overwhelming, but going through a process like this, and very rarely, even if I did, which is why I started exploring, like, started the nonprofit before my life changed, started the Janine Sound Company before it changed, but I never had the opportunity to delve in and do one thing. I think, you made a comment the other day. You said this is really a unique opportunity to engage in this way for 100 TV network, because I don't necessarily have a business. I have business concepts and worked, within the business. I have some examples or samples of the work, particularly in legacy story gifts, but it's not an already established business. Therefore, you are also, I think, I don't know, you tell me, your approach may be a little different working with me because you're not working from an already established company, whether or not it's brick and mortar or not, but an established company. So,
Well, mommy can start brands from scratch. That I can do. What makes you unique is that you're not your your project is beyond the scope of I need to figure out a tight business model and get this thing going. You're unique. I think you have entrepreneurial flavor, like ribbons through you, but that's not your singular focus. That's not what drives you. So that's the difference between you and like my regular clients.
wow.
Is their entrepreneurial adventure is uncompromising. Like they
Got it.
can't not. Like if you sent them on vacation, if you
Yeah.
sent them on vacation to the lake and you were like, you don't have to do anything. There's no Wi-Fi. There's nothing but this lake. They'd have a canoe rental place set up like in a week and a half. Like, oh well, I mean, I just found these 3 canoes and so wanted to rent one. So like they can't not be entrepreneurial.
I get it.
What makes you unique is that what's driving you is a passion for your community first,
Yeah.
and the holistic perspective and the understanding that if that thing is not generating revenue, we ain't helping nobody.
That's absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Well, I love the uniqueness, as well as those folks who have that strong entrepreneurial sort of spirit and almost can turn, like you say, a vacation on the lake into a business, because we need those too. And those people are those that I may read about and go, wow, because it's possible how to turn innovation. My innovation, turning innovation, is different. And yeah, turning ideas or being innovative
But
about.
we're going to use the same framework. We're going to use the
Yeah.
same tools. We're going to treat it like a business regardless,
Okay.
because that's how it wants to be treated. It
It,
doesn't want
yeah.
to be, we're not gonna talk down to our little
No.
enterprise right here. That's what's so fun. And I do think that even if you are like so entrepreneurially driven that you can't help yourself, you got to have a canoe rental place, within 3 days. Watching someone build this from scratch from a place of true heart-centeredness
Mhm.
will inspire any business.
That is.
Whether
I hope.
so,
I hope
I hope
so.
so too. I hope so too. I hope so too. So, I my big picture for you right now is I think we need to sit with this, like that's the truth. That this is now our absolute truth.
Yeah.
That this is what we're working on. This is our project. This is our co-creation space together.
Yeah.
You may wake up tomorrow and be like, "What did I do? We got to do the voiceover thing." Like, and that's perfectly fine. This
Mm,
exercise helps you try on the different ways of existing.
right.
Um, I will see, as we go on, let's both keep in mind, is there a way to integrate voiceover stuff or, legend, are we,
Legacy.
is there a way to integrate that here that makes sense?
Yeah.
If the answer is yes, fantastic. If
Right.
the answer is no, fantastic. We,
Fantastic.
we have a plan for otherwise.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
this is what we build. This is what we're going to build.
Yeah, exactly. And right now, and I love the opportunity just to sit with it. And I don't know if I wouldn't be able to hear all of what we have discussed, but I've made some pretty good notes. And also, it's here and it's here in my heart. Um, what where I really would like to spend more time, where I really see myself, I do see the voiceovers still continuing, still moving forward, identifying someone who could do the editing. But like you said, it might be some, what did you call it? Artisan, sort of spaces maybe to operate in, where maybe the immediacy of turning around something may not be as necessary, but I still want to operate in that space.
And there are VAs who can do that stuff. Keenan can train people. We can figure out where his key piece is. You
Yeah,
can grow that as you want to. Dip your toes in it. That's fine. But I do want to avoid you. I do want to avoid riding two horses with one ass.
I thank you.
Because
Ooh, thank you. Yeah.
because it is a true gift, I think, as a woman, and the truest act of sovereignty that you can ever
Mm.
imagine is the freedom to focus entirely on whatever it is that you want to focus on.
Wow.
So let us embark on that adventure.
Let us embark. Let us
Fabulous.
embark. Yep. Yep.
Fabulous. So I've invited you to the
Hey.
table here to talk about Janine. I'm really excited because we've only just begun in our journey together, and I wanted to bring you into the fold of Business in the Raw, into the fold of the show, to talk
Really happy
about
to be
as a meta moment in which I'm coaching Janine in the meat of the show, and you are my coach and also resident coach on this show. So a good time to connect with you about coaching as a whole and maybe share with you a little bit about how it's going and getting you ready for your work with Janine that's going to be all around that Mokes magic.
the Moxie magic. She's got it coming.
She's got it coming. Here's
Yeah.
why she's super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike the entrepreneurs that you and I work with on a daily basis, you and your coaching practice, and me over there at Stone Fruit, doing my consulting gig and all the things. Women and men, but generally it's all women in my case, come to
Me
the
too.
table and they've already got a business. They already have a model started, whether it needs to be refined. They already have a business idea started. It needs to be refined. They already have a brand in mind. So they come already ready to go and positioning.
Mm.
Who are my people? What do they need? Who am I? What do I deliver? Why am I special, different than the one? Janine has like a completely different story in that she raised a family. She worked for the federal government for decades and decades until she reached retirement. She participated in her church. She has a garden. She raised two children.
Mm-hmm.
She has all of that, and now she has a whole new chapter before her for the very first time, and she doesn't know exactly what to fill in that blank space at all. So
Gosh,
we've
what an
got
exciting place to be.
it's so exciting. She's got podcasting and voiceover work. Her voice is I mean, I can barely describe the effect that her voice has on your soul when you hear it. So she has that. She has a recording studio in her house. So she's a gift for voiceover. Her son's a podcast producer. She also is a singer. She does this project called Legacy Story Gifts, which is going and talking to like senior members of your family. At this point, it's senior members of your family and creating a legacy gift around their story.
Oh,
She's an avid gardener. She loves music. She loves art. She's community driven. She's passionate about social justice. She wants to elevate Black voices. She is just an all around multi passionate entrepreneur with a total blank slate.
does she want to be an entrepreneur?
Yes, entrepreneurship is calling. She wants, I think the thing that's so remarkable about her story is that she wants to participate in the agency of her own next chapter in which she's going to have some fruitful rewards. It's time for this investment of my time, my life, my energy, my bandwidth, and all of that to be, yes, for in the service of other people because that's how I'm wired, but it's for me. She keeps saying, I'm so excited to see what I can give the world and what the world can give back to me. And then what I can give back to the world again.
Sounds to me like she's really in a place now where she's ready to choose herself and do it her way. And this is, this is something that I am just so obsessive about.
Your way and the highway. I mean,
your way and the highway. Exactly right. That's what the podcast was going to be called, wasn't it, originally? My podcast. Funny.
Yeah. And then we had
anyway, but what I mean by that is that she has had a corporate background. She's done all of those things, all the stuff. And she's now in this really, really beautiful position of recognizing that she can curate her own next chapter and she can sculpt it into what she wants it to be, what works for her, what works for the people she wants to serve. It sounds like, coming to you, coaching with me, it's all part of that process of her realizing her own sovereignty around this and her own capability to claim what she really wants moving forward. So I absolutely love this idea of this blank slate for her, even though it almost sounds like it's this quite a packed life that she's bringing to this blank slate. So part of the challenge for her might be really looking at all of those things and picking and choosing what she wants to take forward into her entrepreneurship journey. Because I can guarantee it won't be all of it. So.
Yeah, I forgot to mention she co-founded a nonprofit in women's health advocacy that she also runs.
Oh, one of those.
I forgot to mention that. Yeah, but her kids are grown. She has space and bandwidth right now to do the thing. So I'm actually almost a little jealous of Miss Janine Payne, because she really gets to paint with a blank canvas and not come presupposed with, well, my resume proves that I can make a business doing this thing, so I might as well beaver away at a light version of myself instead of this full fat version she gets to create. So I'm super excited for her journey, and I'm so glad you're going to be a part of it.
Thank you. I just want to comment on that. You say, I'm jealous of her being able to do that. And of course, we all can do that, right? We all can do that. And it doesn't matter that we can all create a blank slate for ourselves if things are not working the way they are at the moment. So for anyone watching, it's important to remember that whatever stage you are at and whatever framework you have right now doesn't have to be what you move forward into. It's just that for Janine, it's very heightened because she has a literal blank slate. She doesn't have to disentangle herself from anything right now. But yeah, this is available for all of us. We just don't always choose to claim it.
That is beautiful. I had a former mentor would say, rip up your resume and start again. And I love that.
I cannot wait to get started.
Me too, Jilly. Me too. We'll see you on episode 2.
I'm ready for it. Tell Janine it's happening.
Okay. The revolution will be televised. We'll see you then, Jilly.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Bye.
Bye for now.